welcome back to The Fostered. I am your lovely host, Angel Foster, and we're just going to go ahead and get right into it because it's been a minute since we've been one-on-one, and that's my fault, obviously, as being the person that is the host and editor of the show. But also, I feel like I just needed some time to figure out what it is I want to even say. I feel like really ever since I started my content creation journey, I've been like straddling this fence of not wanting to step on toes, not wanting to upset people. And I'm just really learning like I cannot be concerning myself with any of that if I want to be showing up authentically as me. And so I think that's why I just needed to take a little bit of a retreat, really come home to myself. And that's what I'm going to be getting into today in this episode. So I am back in my self-help era. Yes. I took a big step away from like reading any self-help books. I used to be like, do y'all know who Rachel Hollis is? That was like the first self-help book I read, Girl Wash Your Face. And that was, or maybe it was Girl Stop Apologizing. No, I think it was Girl Wash Your Face. And that just like thrust me into self-help. And I used to consistently listen, watch anything, all podcasts, everything I was consuming was basically self-help. But it got to a point where like I was listening to all the self-help stuff and wasn't really acting on it. And then I started seeing content around like how self-help stuff is toxic and girl boss. And then Rachel Hollis got canceled, if y'all remember that. And so I just took a big step away. And I had already kind of stopped consuming some of Rachel Hollis's content before then. I think I was just getting into the messaging of like soft life before that was really even like things people were saying. Just not wanting to be like super in like a grind hustle era anymore. And so I really swung the other way pretty much. I stopped listening to self-help. I won't say that I became undisciplined, but I really leaned into rest. I really leaned into softness. And I'm a person of extremes, so I completely leaned the other way. Like I'm not really a person that knows like a middle ground, really. So I completely went the other way. I wasn't doing anything structured. I would say I really didn't operate from a place of discipline and let myself eat whatever I want, sleep however long I want, just do whatever I wanted. And that felt good for a time, but during that time, I learned that I am a person that really, really needs structure, unfortunately. Like, I just do not function well if I don't have structure. And so by me leaning super into like this other way of living, it actually made me depressed. Like, it made me just as like sick and sad as when I was like super into my girl boss era. And it's because we need balance. We need some level of discipline. We need some level of structure. Or I'll speak for myself. I do. I need these things. And low key, I kind of need it a lot. Like my best way of living is in a very structured space, because then it's like I'm not having to think about what am I going to be doing this day. Like during these past really kind of 3 weeks, I have written down everything. My calendar is super organized. I've gotten super into my Notion template. I am like a type A girly. And when I say I have never felt better, I have never been happier. Word to Cassie, like I have never been happier. Like, I think what had me not feeling well in the self-help era was like I was listening to all of this stuff and wasn't really enacting it in my life because it was kind of unrealistic, the things these people were kind of saying. Like I was listening to a lot of David Goggins, like just people who are operating on such a crazy intense level, and it wasn't that I needed to necessarily be replicating that in my own life. And so I had these crazy goals. I was like doing 75 hard, and so I was trying to do that, and that didn't have me feeling good. And then I leaned super heavy into pleasure and rest, and that didn't have me feeling good. And so now I think I've discovered, and I'm sure it's going to be a living document. It's going to be a working system because I'm a living, working person. Like it can't stay the same forever, but I feel like I've found a routine that actually works for me, and I feel great with this structure. I feel super great with having some discipline in my life and showing up for some things. Because another thing, this is more so on the girl boss part of it, I was seeing people kind of like shit on people, specifically women, for like having goals and like wanting to have a company and or like having ambition. Like I don't know if y'all were seeing that online, but I feel like I saw a lot of that. And I'm like, fuck, like can I not have goals? Can I not have a business? And so I think I just, like, a lot of that soft life, like if you were wanting to be ambitious, like you're in your masculine. And so I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be my masculine. I want to be my feminine, you know? So I'm listening to that and I'm taking a step back and I'm relaxing, I'm chilling, I'm not working, not trying to work super hard. I'm trying to talk softly and be feminine and and that is just not me. It's not. And I wish I could be. I've always wanted to be the soft, mysterious girl, you know, like I remember watching Victorious in high school and seeing like how Ariana Grande, like Cat Valentine, I was like, I remember going to school trying to talk like that, like so sweet and soft. I don't think I made it like 2 periods. I couldn't do it. That's just not me. I am my father's daughter. And if you don't know me, if this is your first time listening to me, my dad is ex-military. He's an Omega Psi Phi, like, and that is like who I was brought up by. He really instilled discipline into me. He really instilled the value of hard work in me. In middle school, I was like burning CDs, selling them at school. I always had a job. I always had a hustle. And I really value hard work. I get my happiness from it. I get my happiness from having a goal, executing that goal, working hard on it. I have a Virgo moon, you know? Like, I just needed to just embrace that part of myself and kind of be like, fuck what everybody else is talking about. Like, if it's in the masculine, so be it. Like, I'll be masculine then. I think a lot of the ways that I embrace my work is feminine. Like, I'm very creative. I still have this flowy nature to my work. I just had to create some parameters, some structure for it so it could actually get done, because that was the thing. Like, nothing was getting done. And I knew that I still wanted to pursue these goals, even though I was trying to listen to people on social media, because every time I was seeing someone do something kind of in the realm of what I was wanting to do, I would get a twinge of jealousy. And I always see jealousy as a sign of that is what I want to do. Not as that's my competition. It's, oh, I feel this jealousy because I want to be doing what they're doing. I never see jealousy as like, I want to be them. It's like something about what they're doing is what I want to do. And so because I know that about myself, I knew that I still wanted to pursue these goals. I also realized I was on social media way too much, you know, and I was just listening to everyone else's voices and I was taking everyone into consideration. Granted, do I know any of these people? Hell no. These are just people I follow on social media. I really had to take a step back from social media. And I told myself, you can only go on social media. These are my parameters I'm setting if you're posting on social media. Not saying I can't scroll, but you're not about to just be going in this doom scroll if you're not actually contributing something that day. And you know what that did? That cut my screen time down so much. I reduced my screen time by 60%. I was like, whoa. And if you've listened to this podcast, you know how much I've been trying to reduce this damn screen time. And just by reducing it, guess what happened? I started to be able to hear myself again, hear my own goals, get curious about myself. And that's when I remembered, like, yeah, I am a person that really loves hard work. I really value that. I love when I work hard on a project and I see it come to fruition, you know? I love to be able to look at my YouTube channel and see all the work that I put in, all the videos, all the effort that I've put in, and see my channel actually grow. Like, I just hit 1,000 subscribers. Woohoo, I'm so excited. But, you know, I could have hit that shit a long time ago had I actually been consistent. And I'm not trying to downplay it, but it's like, I know that I'm capable of growing to a certain level, but I can't keep half-assing my goals. And that was something that I was realizing too. So I didn't even say this, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm all over the place. I'm just excited to talk. So how I got back into my self-help era, listening to self-help content again was, I can't even remember who recommended it, but Lauren Bostic. She was talking about the book Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. And I listened to it, and y'all, that shit whipped me back into shape. I was like, okay, we got to get back on it, y'all. Because really, a lot of the shit he was talking about, he was mostly representing white men. But he also had a lot of points about Toni Morrison. And I love Toni Morrison, and I look up to Toni Morrison so much. And he talked about how she would wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning with 2 kids, write her book, and got published in her 30s. And the hard work she put in, you know, to become a published author. And I have dreams of one day becoming a published author. And she sacrificed sleep. She put in that work. And she did it under much harder circumstances than I'm in right now. And so that, I feel like, really motivated me to, like, relook at all my goals that I have for myself and recommit to them. And so that is what I'm doing. I'm recommitting to my goals, but I'm recommitting in a different way, because I feel like I've said loosely I'm committing to my goals, but I haven't given my goals the actual work that they need. And I think that is something that I'm seeing a lot of messaging around. People are just saying like, work smarter, not harder. Things should be easy. Like, it shouldn't really take hard work. I don't agree with that. I feel like, especially in the beginning of a project, like if you don't have anything, if you're not a fucking trust fund baby, if you're not a Nepo baby, like you're going to have to work hard. I truly believe that. And I think for the things that I'm trying to get, I'm going to have to work hard. I have a 9 to 5. I'm recording this podcast right now at 8 o'clock at night. You have to get it in when you can get it in if you have these goals for yourself. And if you don't want to do that, like that is perfectly fine. And I think that is what I was seeing a lot of content around. Like people were like, these people that I was like kind of following, like they didn't really want to be working hard. Like they didn't really want to have goals for themselves. But me, I have goals. Like I have things that I really would like to see come to fruition. And I have to be real with myself. This shit is going to take some hard work. It's not going to come easy. And I think I didn't want to believe that. I think I wanted to just kind of like live in a little Delulu fantasy land and think that it was going to come to me. And I think some of that stuff I am manifesting. Like by the grace of God, somehow people are finding my YouTube channel and finding this podcast without me being not even consistent a little bit. So I do think I am manifesting things. But just like in the Bible, faith without works is dead, honey. You got to put the work in. And I hate to quote her, but Kim Kardashian might have had a point. Like, you have to get your fucking ass up and work, bitch. Like, and I say that all the time. I'm like, get your fucking ass up and work, bitch. Like, you have to. Another little saying. So Taylor Swift, if you're Swiftie, you know, she has this, we do this chant at her concert where it's like 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. That's literally what I would say to like wake my ass up in the morning. Like when I don't want to get out of the bed, I'm like 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. Get the fuck out the bed. You have just got to find these little things that will motivate you. And I feel like those have been things that will motivate me. And I really recommend that book, Discipline is Destiny, because what he was saying in that book is basically like what the Stoics say is like, it's not that anyone wants to do any of this shit. Nobody just wakes up and wants to get up at 5 a.m. and do all this shit before their job and, you know, work hard. Nobody wants to do these things. But it's the sacrifice that you make for the things that you want to get out of life, for your goals. And so for me, I've just been trying to get more serious about my sacrifices. I'm trying to get more serious about the sacrifices of it all, because I feel like I've been trying to make my goals comfortable. I'm not really committing to my goals if I'm still trying to be comfortable, you know? The thing though is every time I say, you know what, girl, you're getting on your shit. You're gonna finally be that woman that you always wanted to be, and nothing is gonna throw you off. You're gonna be that disciplined baddie. You know what happens to me every single time? Self-sabotage. She always creeps in, rears her ugly little head. It's like self-sabotage is like that ex, you know, like as soon as they see you doing good in life, they just want to come back around. And what do? Just like Olivia Rodrigo, I want to get them back. My bestie self-sabotage. And so I was doing really good for like a week. Actually, for like 5 days, I was on my shit. And then, what do you know? Self-sabotage is creeping back in. I'm just like, damn, you know? But something that Ryan Holiday, I'm sorry to keep referencing this book, but this was really the book that helped click a lot of things into place for me around discipline. He was basically saying that the pursuit of self-discipline is such an all-consuming task that you can't even concern yourselves with anything else anyone else has going on. And I mention this because my favorite way to self-sabotage / procrastinate is to focus on everybody else's problems. Like, I'll use my boyfriend for an example, because I mainly do it to him. So say like I'm supposed to be like busy on my task, all my goals. I will see him, you know, playing his video game and be like, what are you doing? You shouldn't be playing your video game. You've been playing that video game for an hour. Da, 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 da. Meanwhile, I was just scrolling on TikTok for an hour, you know? So this is what I do as a way to procrastinate, as a way to self-sabotage. I also do it with like cleaning up. I will pick up his shit before I even look at any of my stuff. I'm like, oh my God, his shoes are on the floor, his skateboard, da 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 da. Meanwhile, my hair supplies and makeup are all over the counter, a mess. Because it's so much easier and so much more fun, frankly, to work on him than it is to work on me. And I think a lot of women actually do this. We like to find men to fix up. Not that my man needs any fixing up, but I like to just work on him instead of working on what needs fixing with me. And it doesn't even have to be your man. It can be your toxic best friend. It could be your family member. I think a lot of us do this. We would rather pick at other people than just focus on what is the all-consuming task of self-discipline, because it's so much easier to point out what other people are doing wrong. Just like Miss Swift said, I'll stare directly in the sun, but never in the mirror. You know, like we never want to stare in the mirror, but I will stare right in that freaking sun all day. I will stare away. And I think that is one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage for me. As I'm recommitting to my goals, self-sabotage is the main thing that I am checking. And this is why I mentioned structure at the beginning, because knowing what I'm doing for a day helps me, because if I have too much space, then nothing will get done. Like if I don't structure my before work and after work time, I'll just fuck off. I'll watch TV. I'll just do whatever. But if I write out everything with the times, more often than not, it will get done. It will be annoying, but it will get done. And that's something I had to realize too. And I just heard this and I can't remember who said it, but basically they were saying whenever you're pursuing a goal, you're going to have a level of discomfort, and you have to, I think it was Joe Dispenza I heard say this, but basically when you're trying to pursue a goal or just do anything, you're going to have those uncomfy feelings. You're going to have those levels of discomfort. It's not going to feel good in the beginning. It may not feel good, for a lot of it, but you have to kind of push through that to get to where you want to go. And I think I was just really expecting everything to feel good because of how much I wanted to see this goal come to fruition. But you're going to have those feelings of resistance. Stephen Pressfield talks about this a lot. I actually should reread that book, The War of Art. He gets into all about resistance. And basically anytime you're trying to do a task or pursue a goal, write a book, whatever, you're always going to just have these feelings of resistance. But the discipline is what really helps you push past those feelings. And really what has helped me with building discipline is building momentum. I just made a little streak tracker on Notion, and being able to freaking see those checks line up like that has really been motivation for me, because I'm building momentum and I feel like I'm getting those reps in more, and it's becoming more habitual. And so it makes it harder and harder to self-sabotage. I'm going to get into this, I think, in my next solo, but a lot of the work that I've been doing as well in relationship to self-sabotage has been rewriting some limiting beliefs. So another habit that I'm really trying to instill right now is meditation. I've never really been consistent with meditation, but this is something that I'm really trying to get consistent with, because I feel like a lot of these self-sabotaging behaviors largely come from limiting self-beliefs. And I feel like if you don't believe that you can achieve something, it's not going to happen. You're always going to stop. You're always going to find a way to self-sabotage. You're always going to find a way to quit, even if you don't really see it in that present moment. Our subconscious is so powerful that even if you do sometimes all of the things that you're supposed to do for your goals, I feel like our subconscious can still find a way to sabotage the goals that we're going after. And if you want to get more into that, you should definitely check out Joe Dispenza if you haven't already. And I can get more into like the meditations and stuff in the next episode if you're curious about that. But that is a large part of the work that I'm doing around rewriting these limiting beliefs, because boy, are they powerful. So yeah, that is what I have been up to for the past 2 to 3 weeks. And I feel like this is just a great time to reset and to recommit to goals in fall. We have 3 months before this year ends, and I feel like this is the perfect time to get committed to goals, especially if you are a content creator and like some of your goals around content creation. This is when holiday campaigns are popping off, and apparently I think statistically it says this is when the most people are on social media. So like if you have some content creation dreams, you definitely need to be getting into your content bag right now. And I am rooting for you. We're in this together. Like I am not speaking from a place of I have this shit figured out. I am literally in the trenches right now. You know what? I hope next year I can be sitting pretty being like, this is what you bitches need to do. But right now, Right now, I don't have that. I am talking to myself. This is what this podcast is. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to some piece of content, and they were like, figure out who you want to talk to when you're making your content. And as I was getting ready to record this, I was like, who am I talking to? And I'm like, bitch, you're talking to you. This is what you need to listen to every single day. But I feel like there must be other people out here who can be, you know, half in, half out. I mean, y'all tell me, y'all be DMing me, telling me that. And so I know that y'all feel me. If you're listening, if you've listened this far, you definitely feel me. Or maybe you're my mom. But I think right now, like, a lot of the content I'm making is for me, people like me who really struggle with this discipline, who really need that structure, and who've been a little bit too tapped into voices of other people and people pleasing a little bit. I think we can't be scared to piss people off. I think we can't be scared to say things that might be a little bit messy or people that may not agree with. The people that I look up to, they get shit talked about them all the time, you know? So I think anybody great, anybody worth looking up to, somebody has talked shit about them. So we can't be so scared to have people talk shit about us. And basically, people already are, you know? All right, I'm gonna wrap it on up. That is it for this solo episode. Thank you so much for listening. It's always fun just talking to y'all. I missed y'all. If you like this, you already know what to do. You already know what I'm gonna say. Go ahead and share this with a friend or a family member, anyone you think could get some value out of it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, girl. Go ahead and like this video. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to follow, all the things. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you're fostering for yourselves this week. I should say what I'm fostering. I mean, it's clear. I'm fostering discipline, okay? We're fostering discipline and some structure. I will talk to you next week. Next week, we have a very fun episode. We have Miss Janelle Roberts on. That episode was so good. I'm obsessed with Janelle. Again, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week.